Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the moon transiting the sixth house in a natal chart. Now, generally speaking, most instances, the moon will transit a house between 48 and 72 hours. Well, anyway, people, first thing I want to get at with the moon transiting the sixth house, this indicates that you may be more sensitive to matters pertaining to work, health, and service to others. You may perhaps express a more nurturing attitude at work. Say, if you have fellow employees, you might show a little bit more empathy, sympathy, and show a more of a nurturing side to them, perhaps. You also may be more sensitive, perhaps in a case, for example, like an unintentional slight by maybe a fellow employee, if applicable. Now, we'll say perhaps somebody joking, for example, and maybe taking it as an unintentional slight or taking it as criticism or ridicule or taking constructive criticism to heart for that matter. Now, there also may be a little bit more propensity perhaps to worry during this period, which could lead to perhaps in some isolated cases maybe some digestive problems or difficulties. This could be something where you put a lot of emotional energy into your employment at this time. This could be a period where your health matters might become more, you might feel a little bit more, they're a little bit more significant to you than ordinarily. This could be also a period where maybe fellow employees at your workplace might see you as a little bit more moody and temperamental during this period, but it could also indicate that maybe one or more of your fellow employees, you might see one or more of them as temperamental or moody as well. This could be a period where you might emphasize being a little bit more systematic, methodical, more about organization, paying attention to more minute things, things that you generally maybe wouldn't be concerned with as much in your general life. Now, you could really be also be more meticulous during this time, whether it's about your appearance or whether it's just in general being more exact with things. This could be something where the mother might figure more prominently, perhaps in your work life or your health, your diet maybe, perhaps during this period. This could also be a time where you might show a little bit more of a nurturing attitude toward pets if you have them, and you might. This could be also a period where maybe the where your daily routine takes on a little bit more of an emphasis, and you might show a little bit more sensitivity toward that as far as the daily routine goes. And also it could indicate that maybe the mother might play a little bit stronger role in your daily routine, perhaps during this, perhaps this generally speaking 48 to 72 hour period that the moon will be traversing your sixth house. This could be also a time where perhaps working laboriously at your job, it might be a little bit, you might drain you emotionally perhaps during this period. So it's important to be careful as far as not overexerting yourself during this time. Work may really take precedence in this period. Remember that the moon has made a transition from going from your fifth house to the sixth. In the fifth house, it might have been a little bit more of a whimsical and fun period for you, more enjoyable period. But now, for this short period that the moon transits your sixth house, it could be a period where you're kind of like all business during this time. So really being more organized might be really play a strong role in your emotional security during this time, feeling, and there might be a very strong emotional need to be productive, to be competent at work during this period. This could be also a period where maybe women might figure a little bit stronger, perhaps in your employment, in your work, maybe as far as your attitude toward health or toward diet during this period. This could be something where when you look at this being the moon transiting the sixth house, it could be a period where just health related matters might come in a lot stronger than they generally do, and you might and the thing is not to have any really it's important to not become overly emotional or overly sensitive in these matters during this period, because the moon, whatever house the moon transits, it can show a lot more sensitivity to issues. So this is really a situation where really work can really be a strong focal point during this period. Well, anyway, people, the next thing I want to get to, okay, it's also important to look at the sign that the moon transits during this period, because this could flavor the influence a little bit. Now, let's say, for example, that the moon was transiting Taurus for either the majority or the whole period that it was in your sixth house. This could really emphasize working vigorously, perhaps, or showing a lot of persistence and perseverance at work, perhaps in something connected with physical fitness, and really and that could make you feel good, perhaps emotionally, at this time. And it could also be maybe more sensitive, perhaps. It might be when you look at Taurus. Taurus is a sign about staying with it and about being tenacious. So in this period, you may really show that that side more as far as your work environment goes. Now, another example could be, let's say that the moon is in Libra for the majority or the whole period that the moon is transiting the sixth house. This could be a time where you might emphasize maybe being kind of that people appeaser, that people pleaser, and showing maybe that some charm, diplomacy at work. And this might make you feel good emotionally at work, perhaps during this period, or something connected with employment. And also it could indicate that maybe you might be more since Libra's connected with relationships, it might show that maybe if there's a work relationship, that maybe you might show a little bit more sensitivity regarding this. Well, also look at the aspects that the transiting moon in the sixth house makes during that period, as this could impact the influence. Now, let's say, for example, that the transiting moon is making a square, in conjunct, or opposition to your natal Mars. Well, this could indicate perhaps maybe some perhaps combative or acrimonious experience might take place, maybe in matters connected with work, or maybe something about something health-wise might make you a little bit angry during this period. So it's important to keep that in mind. Now, let's say, for example, another example, let's say the transiting moon is making a sextile or trine to your natal Jupiter. Well, this could indicate that perhaps you may show it might be a positive period as far as your employment goes, or for the short period that it makes this aspect, and could show a positive energy connected with what you may be doing work or health-wise. And it's possible even that maybe a trip might be suggested in some isolated cases as far as something connected with work. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the moon transiting the sixth house in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the moon transiting the seventh house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.